Hey, welcome back to session 3. We are so excited. I'm excited because this is the ladies' week.
She's really excited.
We're looking at how a man can really love a woman. And if you remember, we referred back before to Ephesians 5:33, where we're taking us today with this scripture, where it says, however, each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband.
Now, what in the world does that mean, guys? I mean, really, do we have a clue how to love our wives? I don't think so.
I don't know, but I'm just excited to be talking about it today.
So we're going to find out. I encourage you to listen close because it's a complex deal, really complex. But if we can understand what it means to love our woman, changes everything.
Everything.
I'm working on curls for the girls.
Our modern girls play as hard as any man. How do they do it? Where do they find all that energy? That seemingly inexhaustible store of pep and ginger?
So if a woman could design her perfect day from morning till night, what would she be doing?
Meets up with her friends, goes to the mall.
Lay out, tan. Would enjoy a day at the spa, you know, the typical hair, nails, facial type of thing.
Spends probably about 2 hours in the bathroom. Does her makeup and her hair.
There are still plenty of jobs left for the ergometer and the work-saving scientists to tackle.
Hardly guys don't get that stuff done.
No kids, no work.
A little like Mother's Day might be, Dave, but every day.
Probably be without her husband most of the day.
Go shopping.
I'm coming downtown to shop more often. And
have her boyfriend pay for it.
Yeah. This is a real diamond. Honey, if you love me, you buy this for me.
What would you say a woman really, really wants from a man?
Oh boy, oh, that's a tough one.
Kindness.
Surprises. Like you show up with flowers for no reason. That'd be a good one.
Friendship.
My wife smokes cigars with me, so I smoke a little cigar.
Really?
Yeah, grab a flick and then head on home.
Love.
Definitely love, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Whether they know it or not.
I think she wants a friend and a companion.
I would like to say me, but I don't think so.
Julie, when I was a girl, we wouldn't have been caught dead with no more clothes on than that. My stars, what are our young people coming to these days?
What would you say turns a woman on?
Money.
Money?
Probably security. Yeah, they just want stable things that aren't going to change, predictability.
As long as money is spent on her in some way and she's getting tan, she'll be happy.
Who's more complicated, men or women?
Definitely women.
A woman.
Generation after generation, this complex pattern of culture traits is handed down.
Everything's in code that only they know.
Speak a different lingo.
They'll tell you one thing and then do another.
Often my wife says, well, let's talk about this, and what it really means is let's paint the living room.
It's like, I don't want to go here. It's code for I want to go here. Or no, you don't have to pay for that. It's code for pay for that. You just kind of like reverse everything. But then sometimes you don't have to, and it just makes no sense.
I think the key to a good date and the key to a good anything with a girl is find out what she likes. It doesn't matter what you like, because if she's happy, she'll give you what you like.
All right, ladies, do you think we have a clue? Do you guys have a clue? Do we have any idea what women want? I don't think so either. When I was out there asking these guys, every time they just looked at me like, I mean, there was a long pause. We had to shorten the video to get their response because they just looked at me like, I don't know, money, you know. They just didn't know.
It's so funny, too, because when I was talking to the women, as soon as I would ask them a question, they're going on and on and on.
If you pull out your message outline, which is on the back of your program, we've got a 5-letter word this week as well, and it basically is this: she wants your heart. And Ann's going to explain what that means to us. At the top, we're using the same verse we looked at last week. It says, however, each one of you also must love his wife, and we bolded that, as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. So last week we talked about respect. This week let's talk about love. And so we decided to put it this way: she really wants your heart. So the first one is H, just like last week, only it's going to be totally flip side of that, is honor her differences. Honor her differences. And the whole thought here is that, and it's one of the most amazing things for me to understand as a man, and I don't think I have a clue, but a female brain is a really interesting thing.
It's because we're geniuses, basically.
Yeah, that's what it is. Trying to figure out how a woman, you know, just like thinks has really been interesting for me in 26 years of marriage, and I know every guy feels the same way. It's like we think our brains, men's brains, are pretty simple. And, you know, you've heard us talk here before about men are compartmentalized. They can sort of just slip into this compartment, and everything doesn't mush together. I mean, if I'm at church speaking, I can be there, and then I can go home, and I can eat, and I have different compartments. And women are more globally. Everything seems to affect things. One of the things that Shanti and Jeff do in their book is they use that same analogy, and they sort of talk about it on a computer screen. So I asked one of our tech guys to sort of diagram this for us. So let me show you the male brain first. This is a man's brain. And there's nothing there, and what happens is a pop-up will come up, like let's say tools. And so you'll be thinking about tools or work or whatever, you'll deal with that, you'll pop it away. All right, then another one comes up, and you'll think about that, and you'll click it, and you're done with it. Then another one comes up, food, that's a big one for men, all right? But when men are eating, they're eating, and that's all they're thinking about. And so they have the food thing, and then they pop that one away, and it's gone. And then another one can pop up, what else we got? Cantaloupes, you know, fruit, leisure time. We get into that, it's gone. Next one is sex. That one comes up a lot in a man's brain, and he thinks about it for a while, and then he clicks it, and it's gone. So that just sort of shows you that men have pop-ups, but it's usually one pop-up at a time. They deal with it, they interact in that area, they get rid of it, and then they move another one in and do the same thing. Now, a female brain's nothing like that.
We are not like that at all. Because once one pop-up comes up, it's kind of like this. Let's say we're thinking, gosh, my house is a mess. I've got to do some cleaning today. So the vacuum cleaner comes up. But as the vacuum cleaner comes up, another pop-up comes up. It could be, oh gosh, what am I having for dinner tonight? And then another pop-up comes. Oh gosh, oh the kids, are they home from school yet? And then another, oh the baby, am I pregnant? Oh my gosh, I have to go to work and I have to walk the dog and I have to, oh like I have so much on my mind. And every one of those things, all those pop-ups affects the other pop-up. It's not like one slides down. They all run into each other. And so look at the bed. Is that the bed right there?
Yeah, that's a bed in the middle.
We don't think of the bed as, ooh, boy, what's going to happen? We think, I didn't make the bed today. That's more of what it's like. And so for us, it's so different because Dave can be going from one pop-up to the other, where he could be sitting there talking to me, and I've got 5 million things on my mind. And this really happened to us. It was the most amazing thing to me when our kids were little. I think CJ was 4, Austin was 2, and I was about 3 months pregnant with Cody. And it was an afternoon where Dave is in his office studying and getting ready to do a sermon. And he's in his chair like this, and he's got his feet propped up on his desk, and he's got his Bible in his lap. And I come down the hall, his office is upstairs, I come down the hall, and I've got CJ's walking beside me, I'm pregnant, and I've got Austin in my laundry basket sitting in it. You know, I look a mess, and I'm walking down the hall, and he says, Anna, just wait, come here.
This is really making me look bad. I don't remember CJ and Austin even being there. Really?
And he stops, he says, come in here a minute. I said, what? He said, I'm just sitting here, and I just want to know, do you just think about our sex life all day long?
They are stunned right now. They don't even think that's really true, but that's exactly what I said.
And I looked at him and said, honey, look at me. look at my life. You want to know what I'm actually thinking about right now? He's like, yeah, you know, like this is going to be about, you know, our relationship. I said, I'm thinking, I haven't made any of the beds. What am I going to have for dinner? My house is a mess. I'm thinking I have to make Halloween outfits, and who's coming to our house for Thanksgiving? It's going to be your family or my family. I haven't gotten any Christmas presents yet. And I'm thinking, look at me. I'm getting fatter by the hour. My stomach's getting big. And then I'm thinking what you said to me last night was still affecting me this morning, and I'm still kind of mad at you.
Then I tell you what, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I guess that would be a no. I mean, I do remember that day. It was just, you know, it was just a stupid, naive comment by a brainless man. Yeah, all the women are shaking. Look at your heads. Like, yes, you are clueless. I know now. I was only married, what, about 10 years then? You don't know anything until about 15 years.
And the bad thing is for me is, you know, it was just such an innocent comment, and I thought, golly. At first it was like, gosh, what's wrong with me? And then you know what I thought? This is all the pop-ups. Well, if I got to sit on my chair with my feet on my desk, I thought that I might think about that too. So it's hard because those pop-ups are affecting our lives all the time. And so Dave doesn't always know, are you mad at me? Is this? And then he's thinking there are like 5 different things in my head going on at the same time, and you don't know what it is.
Yeah, and one of the things I used to say is just forget it. Just drop those things. Just clear your mind, and And I never understood she can't. I really thought she could. She was choosing not to, because a man usually can. It's like, oh, okay, I can put that aside. This pop-up window's here, I'll deal with that, and I'll just put it down at the bottom. And she can't do that. Women cannot do that, guys. So don't go, hey, just... And then we get mad at them. Just like Jimmy said, we get mad at them. Like, what's your problem? Just drop it. Come on, focus. I mean, I'm not kidding. I don't want to say this, but when we were working on this message together, like yesterday, I'm like, get in here and focus. We got to get this message done. You know, for Jesus, for the church, you know. I was just like that. I was getting angry, like, quit doing the dishes, get over here, sit down, we got to get this done. And I realized, there it is, she's got pop-ups all over, and we're gonna teach this point, and I can't even appreciate it a day before I'm gonna actually speak about it. So here's a couple tips, and every point, we're gonna illustrate it for you, and then I, as a man, I'm gonna give the guys a couple tips that I've learned. Not that they're perfect, but a couple really insightful tips that I've really gotten some from these books. One is this, guys. When she starts talking about some issue in her life, and we said this before, but listen for the emotion of what she's saying, not the problem. See, we listen for the problem, we want to fix it. What she longs for us, right?
This is so good.
She longs for us to connect with the emotion. She really doesn't care about the problem as much as what she feels about the problem. I don't even listen for the emotion. I go to the problem, try to fix it. And I realize over the years, she wants me to experience emotion with her. And maybe sympathy with her about this emotion. And then I'll also realize there's a way that I can help her put away the pop-ups. So there's sometimes I can get involved and help her. Well, what can I do to help you get, buy that pop-up? Is there something I need to do? Is there a phone call I need to make? Is there a son I need to pick up?
Just that sentence is really big. Honey, what do you need from me right now? Wouldn't that be nice to hear your husband say that? What do you need from me right now? And sometimes it could be, I just need you to vacuum the family room. Or it could be, I just need you to listen to me. I need to vent. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, I wish I could do it once. But the truth is, if you get that question, if you feel honored.
Totally.
So you feel like your differences, and that's just the way females and males are different, is honored rather than dishonored. Because I do this all the time. I belittle her difference rather than saying, wow, that's amazing.
And I really don't like you to fix me.
That's why I don't. All right, second one. So HE, the second one is energy for the relationship. Energy for the relationship.
This is so big for us as women. I think what it really comes down to is it boils down to priority. We want to feel like we're important in your life. We want to feel like we matter, that on your list of many things, we are at the top of your list. And what happens is sometimes we feel like you guys are doing all of your stuff, and you give out your best at work and to your friends, playing flag football that Dave just did today, and then when you come home, you have no energy left for us. And remember like the 12,000 words, like a guy spent all his 12,000 words like we talked about last week? Sometimes we feel like, everybody got his best, and I get like the little scraps. That can be really hard.
Yeah, and what I've heard from Ann, and I know that many couples have experienced this, whether married or dating or whatever, but especially in marriage, I think that there tends to be a difference between a man when he's dating and a man when he's married. Is that true?
Oh my God.
Because there's this incredible energy he puts into the relationship. He's romantic, he's creative, he's artistic, whatever. I mean, he's thinking about her, and he doesn't know it, but he's wooing her and winning her. And then after he gets married, and guys, we never think this, do we? We want to think, okay, now I'm married, I'm done. But that's what happens. It could be a month, it could be 6 years, it could be 6 months, but it's not too long after marriage that men stop putting the kind of energy they put into the dating relationship, and they tend to take that energy now and say, okay, I've conquered this, she's mine, let's go to the next step. And it's like their job or their career or some other thing.
That is
and
so
you are longing.
sad, isn't it, as women? Because that makes us feel like you don't love us the way you used to love us.
And often it's the job. It isn't always the job, but I know that in our household, my job as a pastor here and as a chaplain for the Lions has been a real stress on our relationship in terms of you being a priority or you being a priority.
Oh. I tell you, and a great example of that is Dave's schedule in the fall. I don't have any idea how you do it. I have to give you just, like he's done this before, you've given him a little bit of a scenario, but basically what happens is his day is Friday's really busy because he's usually doing sermons and getting ready for that. Friday night, he goes and he coaches for the Adams football team. So he's coaching the Adams football team. Saturday, a lot of times he'll be prepping for the sermon on Saturday, and then what he'll do is maybe he plays in the band, so he has to be here at 11, then he gives the message, and then, as soon as he's done with the message, he races. You probably, don't you fly?
I fly down to Dearborn, yeah.
Down to Dearborn to do the chapel for the Detroit Lions. So then he comes home from that late. Like, what time do you get home usually?
I don't even want to talk about this.
So I haven't seen him all weekend, so he comes home from that really late, and the next morning he gets up and he does Kensington again, and then he has to zoom down to Detroit to go to the Lions game. And by the time he gets home, it's probably 6 o'clock at night, and I've been by myself, basically, and the boys all weekend, like, waiting for him to come home. And can you imagine what he would be like? He's been giving and giving and giving. I don't know how he does it. And when he gets home, it's just like, oh. And of course he would, because he's been working so hard all day.
And you're usually so understanding at that point. Tell him what you usually do.
Well, here's what happens. Like, if that goes on, and I'm feeling like we're not having any time together, what happens is I start getting resentful. Do you ever do this as women? You feel like everything's more important than me. Everybody gets your best. And so what I do, I've kind of done this some other places, but what I do is I start getting resentful and I start building my case, and I think, I'm by myself everywhere I go. Everything I do is by myself. You know what? I do everything around here. Does he even do anything around the house? No, I stuff that thought inside. You know what? He doesn't care about me. He has no energy when he comes home, doesn't have any juice for the boys, and so I just stuff every thought in there. And so this is ammunition. It looks really good too. And
this isn't the PG-13 part. Coming.
Sometimes as a woman, when you feel like, I am right, he's wrong, I'm the priority, it's God and me right there on the top. And so what we do is we build our case to use later. This is all ammunition for later, so I can say, you know what, you're supposed to be godly man. Well, yeah, you have so much for that. And so what happens is I have this choice of, do I just let it fester and grow? Because what happens, we get more and more mad, we get bitter, we get angry, we get numb, and pretty soon we don't care. And I feel like many times, God is saying, Ann, take it out and give it to me. And you know what? You really don't want to do that, do you? Because it just feels so good to be right. And so there are times when I'm walking with God and I said, Lord, here's what I feel. Not all the time, but I feel hurt. I feel like he's giving his best to everyone else. Or I feel like he's not giving enough of his time to the boys. I feel like when he comes home, all he can do is sleep. And those are the things, okay. Those are the things, all of this, I feel like for me personally, I need to give it back to God. But also communicate to Dave in love of how important this is for me that he have energy for us. Because one of the things they found in this book in the survey is that it said women would be willing to downsize. Many women, do you remember the percentage?
I think 73% of women say, I would take less of a house and a life to get emotional security from my man rather than just financial security. You know what's so amazing to me as I'm saying this, all the women are shaking their heads.
I know, I like talking to women. They're like really responsive and...
So it just shows how clueless we are. But you know, it is really interesting to understand that a woman longs for a man to bring the same kind of passion and energy he does to other parts of his life to the relationship, just like he did before they're married. It's definitely true. So here's a couple thoughts for the men. Number one, learn to say no to things you just don't need to be involved in. If you're anything like me, we can fill our lives up with good stuff, but not great stuff. And there's many things, as busy as I can be in the fall, there's still many things I have said no to that we talk about. And we look at our calendar every week, and we don't do a great job of it, but we have to just every week say, what are you doing, what am I doing? And even before there's a yes said to a speaking engagement or a travel situation, we have to talk and say, is that good for the relationship? And there's a lot of no's that happen, and then the yeses happen. It still is a busy life. We all have busy lives, but if I'm not giving the energy to the relationship, guess what? She loses. We both lose, but she really feels unloved. So that's one thought, is just learn to say no, and you may need to sit down.
And I will say this, the reason you're busy, not the reason, but we've talked about it together, and I love Dave doing that stuff, and you have a capacity for a lot on your plate. And the fact that you've asked me and you've even told me, if you need me to drop something, I will. And that communicates love to me.
Of course, the hard part is she says, yeah, do it, and then I do it, and then she's mad at me. You ever been there? I said, you gave me permission to do it, and now... But it's also the other thing stacking on top. But here's the other thought for the guys. Have a drop-off point on your way home. If it's way home from work or way home from wherever there's something busy in your life, there's a place near my home where I'm driving home. I go by it it's just a light near Adams. As I'm driving home, it's my mental drop-off place where I drop Kensington, I drop my work, and I don't bring it in home. Now, obviously, you bring some of it home. But what happens for me there is I realize the energy that I don't have right now, I'm feeling depleted. I'm feeling like I just want to go home and do this. I got to realize I got to go home and work. Understand what I'm saying? I've got to just reset my mind to say, I'm going to walk in that door, especially when the kids were little, and it's true now as well, but especially when they're little, she is emotionally gone because the kids it's so hard for her. So I got to walk in even though I'm depleted and realize I've got to give energy to this home and to my wife. That makes her feel loved. And now my boys are older, and guess what I've realized? More energy. Because they used to run to me and say, Dad, Dad, Dad. Now they walk away and I got to pursue them. Hey, you want to go out? No, what for, Dad? Come on, let's go out. Let's have dinner. What for? I got stuff going on. So it's amazing. The energy even goes higher to pursue them and pursue my wife. But this is a major point in our home and probably in your relationships as well, is she longs to feel loved. And one of the ways she really feels loved is when I give passion and energy to this relationship. Because it is the top priority relationship in my life. Right under my relationship with God. It is. It's easy to say and hard to do, but it has to be. And if that happens, you feel loved, right?
Well, and one of the things, the reason we can keep our schedules busy is I know without a doubt that once a week I will get Dave's total focus attention, where we'll go out for lunch, we'll go out for dinner, and in that time, it's not just, and sometimes it's just a movie and not deep talk, but I know that you're willing to go deep and talk about how we're doing. And that right there, it's not like some guys think it's so big, I can't do it. But that's for me, that's what I need right there is just give me a lunch or a dinner or an evening, something consistent that I know I'll have you.
And that is a hard thing to protect in a relationship, but we have just made it a top priority. Say, we're going to date every week. Somehow we're going to get out away from every single week for 26 years. And, it was really hard when the kids were little, but it was like, this has got to happen. It's called Sabbath in the Bible. It's called margin. We talked about in Good to Great. It's that time to pull away with your spouse or even alone, sometimes you're not married, and say, I've got to refresh myself so that I can give energy back.
All right, we're going to stop it right there at the H and the E and save the ART for next session, where you get today to talk about her differences in her brain, just an amazing, complex, confusing web to us men, and also the energy for the relationship. And I know for us in 26 years of marriage, and we said this, we still date. And it's an amazing statement to you from me that I still have passion and energy for you, right?
It totally communicates love. When Dave pursues me, it communicates love, and it's like giving me oxygen. It fills me up and makes me feel like he still loves me so much.
And by the way, guys, this doesn't count as a date. Going to small groups not a date. I mean, it's great and it's awesome and you score some points, but you need to figure out a time. And I would encourage you weekly is probably your greatest action step of this session is to just figure out a time to bring energy, passion to relationship, and that could look like some time away, whether it's an hour or 2 or 3 hours where you go out on a date.
And I think the other thing that's going to be real important this week is for us as women to be careful of how we share this. As the men open up their hearts, this is a great time to apply what we've learned about cheering them on.
Yeah, and it could easily be a time to bash them, and I wouldn't bash them. I'd just applaud and cheer and watch how your man transforms. So as you go to share now, I encourage you again, be real, be honest, have fun, laugh, and at the same time allow God to do an amazing work, because he will as you share. So go for the risk, take the ride, and go for it now.